Hello there guys, my name is Mr. Yorkie's World. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, excuse the Pro ATCX in the background. In today's video, we're going to be flying from here at Seattle, Kilo Sierra Echo Alpha at gate Bravo 7 by the way, over to Anchorage, Papa Alpha November Charlie, with Delta Airlines Flight 1901. It is a lovely day here at Seattle. We've got some more Deltas near us. Lovely Seattle scenery, which I believe is from taxi to gate, and I am really impressed with the level of detail. Absolutely beautiful, look at that. Reasonably clear day, but I think it's 0 degrees here, and it's like 0 degrees in Anchorage, or minus something, I'm not quite sure, but the parking brake's set regardless. We can head on over into the FMC. Today we're going to be taking 25,915 pounds of fuel, or in kilograms that would be 11,754.84 kilograms. We can switch on the aft fuel pump there, isolation valve, and start the APU. Arm the emergency lights, seatbelt signs and everything can be sorted in a moment. 340 is going to be our cruise altitude today. We can switch on those seatbelt signs ready for when the passengers come aboard. IRS as to nav. We have been doing quite a few 737 flights lately. I do apologise. I will eventually change aircraft. XPDR with the transponder. Give that a test in a bit. RTO, and we can sort out the VORs, traffic data, flight directors. There we go. So doors, we can open or close the doors for GSX. Why do I always say open when I know that I need to close them? Anyways, let's request boarding now. The scenery that we're going to be using for Anchorage, by the way, is the Aerosoft Anchorage Professional for P3D V4.4. So we're at KSEA. We are at gate Bravo 7, but I doubt that it's going to allow us to put that in. No, there we go. That's where we are regardless. GPSL position, we can plonk that in there. I do apologise in advance about my voice. I just cannot talk today, got a terrible sore throat. So we've got the co-route set up, which is that. We're probably going to be using 34 right as our departure runway, but we'll find out now.
Parking position, gate Bravo 7 with the 80s request clearance.
We've got some stairs at the back, and we've got the jetway, that's perfect. 6,000 on the initial. And yeah, so runway 34 right. With the Banger 9 departure. Behave yourselves in the comments, everybody. So 34 right, DAL1901 is our flight number today. Activate and execute. 0 fuel weight, 121.8. 1.06 is our reserves. The cost index is 13, I believe, for Delta. Transition altitude's all fine, so that's okay. And our cruise level today is going to be 340. Stick that in there. Execute. N1 limit, standard 24k D rate with flaps 5. We can work out the centre of gravity. We can, of course, go over and get the winds from active sky. So 0 at 5 knots. Or 360 at 5, whichever way you want to put it. Departure, we're going to be using the Banger 9 again. Please be mature in the comment section. Where is it? It should be the top. Is that it? Yeah. The transition, we're not using a transition, so that's fine. We can go and get rid of that discontinuity. We don't have any other discontinuities, that's okay. The passengers are on the way on. V speeds, so 149 is the V2 speed. LNAV and VNAV. We can give the TCAS a quick test, couldn't find it then. And I'll also go ahead and put my fixed rings in. Now the temperature over here in Seattle is actually quite cold according to Active Sky. We're looking at like 0 degrees, so I am going to put the anti-ice on once we get pushed back, and that'll remain on for the duration of the flight. Definitely going to be icy over in Anchorage, so that should make for a pretty interesting approach and landing. So this is essentially going to be our trip. So we're going to come out of here from runway 34 right, following it all the way round, and if we zoom out a little bit and then try and control the camera, let's just get rid of this, there we go. That is going to take us all the way to Joe, which is the waypoint before we need to program in our arrival. So anyways, takeoff page on there. I'm going to leave that on the doors page just there. Transfer the power. Window heats can come on. Why did that not click? There we go. Yaw damper. And aside from that, there's not a great deal more that I can really do apart from wait for the passengers to have boarded the aircraft. So without further ado, look at that. Loving the textures. Nice sunny day today. Not too many clouds, but it's still rather cold. So I shall leave you guys for a few moments, just while the passengers get boarded, which hopefully shouldn't take too long, and I'll catch you with you guys when we're all sorted. Right, okay, passengers are on. We can close the doors. This flight is supposed to be departing at 12:10 PM local time and arriving at 2:49 PM local time. So we're going to disconnect the jetway. Like so. It's currently 11:54, so we might just be early.
Request start up and pushback.
Auto throttle armed. Hydraulics. Anti-collision. Fuel pumps. Ground connections we can get rid. And we can ask GSX to push us back tail left today. Just waited for everything to get in place. Likes to take its time, does GSX. Here we go.
Just waiting for some apron traffic while the tug's position. Be pushing back in a couple of minutes. Parking brake on, please.
Parking brake is set. 11:55 now. At this rate, we should be at least 5 or 10 minutes early on departure.
Lock in the gear.
Loving the textures as well at this airport. Taxi to gate did an absolutely fantastic job in my opinion.
Request taxi.
Alaska 460, taxi via Bravo, runway 34 right.
Via Bravo, runway 34 right, Alaska 460.
Parking brakes released.
Commencing push.
Engine 2.
Start at your discretion.
We're looking for 25%. About there's going to do it for me. Not sure what's going on with the sound pack that I've got installed for the engines. Not entirely sure that's working as it should be. Might have to look into that. Nevertheless, engine 1, same procedure. Around 25%. which in our case I'm going to say is about there. Yeah, the engine startup sounds are a lot nicer in previous videos, and I think the new sim installation might not be making use of the sound pack that I've installed. For some bizarre reason, it doesn't appear to be working as it should. Nevertheless, I could sort that out at a later time.
Push now complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes set. Both engines are started. Probe heats can come on. Anti-icers. Packs. Transfer the APU power. APU bleed. And off with the APU, continuous with the engines. We can set the trim, which is 5.36 by the looks of it, and flaps 5. Look at those ground textures, absolutely lovely. Full left on the controls, and full right on the controls, looking good. Flaps are down.
Disconnected and clear. Bypass pin is removed.
11:58 now. I'm going to request taxi.
Request taxi.
Delta 1901, taxi via Bravo, runway 34 right.
Via Bravo, runway 34 right.
So we've been clear for the taxi, we just need to wait while this tug gets out of the way. 11:59 now, so it's near enough 12 PM.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Taxi and turn-offs.
Away.
Just waiting on the hand signal. There it is. Have a good trip. Thanks very much, GSX. And with that, away we go. So, again, a little bit of information about this flight, just as we're taxiing to the runway. Again, this is Seattle to Anchorage with Delta DAL1901. We're going to be departing for runway 34 right. Our flight level is going to be 340. And it should take us approximately 3 hours and 39 minutes to get there. We should be departing at 12:10 PM local time and arriving at 2:49 PM local time as well, covering about 1,485 nautical miles. We've just departed from gate Bravo 7, and we should be arriving at Bravo 6 over at Anchorage with a little bit of luck. Wonderful scenery. We've got an aircraft on final by the looks of it. A little bit of stutter at this airport at Seattle, but to be honest, it's not too bad at all. Loving the ground textures, loving the sky textures. Not many clouds around, so it should be nice and calm. And without further ado, looks like we're going to be in a queue for a while, waiting to take off, so I'll catch up with you guys in just a few minutes. Okay guys, so here we go. The aircraft that was in front of us has now departed. So we're just waiting to line up. Loving the trees. They are, of course, the Orbex trees.
Tower, Delta 1901. Holding short, runway 34 right. Ready for departure. Delta 1901. Line up runway 34 right.
So we can line up 34 right. The aircraft that was ahead of us is literally just lifting off now. So we will give it a little bit of spacing. Lights configured. Runway is verified, 34 right. Taking our time just to give that aircraft in front of us a little bit of spacing. They're turning off to the right anyway, so we should be okay.
Delta 1901, wind
Transponder.
runway 34 right, clear for takeoff. Good flight.
Clear for takeoff.
Runway 34 right, clear for takeoff.
Start the clock.
1901.
40%. Looking good. And Toga. It actually sounds like those engine sounds are working to some extent. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. A little bit of stutter as we go down the runway, but it's fine. 80 knots about 5 weeks ago. V1. And rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Look at that. Just as my voice goes there, but look at that. Absolutely phenomenal. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Following the flight director. 12:05 was our departure. 5 minutes early. And you can see we're going to be taking a turn to the left here. So we should be able to get some nice views. Autopilot in command. Runway turnoffs can come off and the engine's back to the off position. 170. Start bringing those flaps up to 1. Look at that view. And we can go ahead and bring those flaps completely in now. Absolutely beautiful. So we are going to begin that turn to the left in a short while. It was a nice straightforward departure, nothing too fancy. Here we go with another wing view. Bit of wing flex, gotta love it. Just coming up on 5,500 feet. I simply cannot get over how beautiful these wing views actually do look. Again, this is the R&D, not PTA, tomato shade preset. Although when I did use PTA, I was also using the R&D preset for that as well. Look at that. That is thumbnail worthy, actually. And I'm not even using any additional Orbex scenery for this area, for Seattle or anything like that, or Anchorage or anywhere like that. It's just FTX Global, that's all it is. So 8,000 feet. Seatbelts to auto. Beautiful. In fact, that is thumbnail worthy as well. It's definitely going to be fun going through all these different thumbnail images and choosing the right one. So coming up at 10,000 feet now. And with that, guys, I am going to leave you with some amazing cinematics as we head over to Anchorage on this 3-hour and 39-minute flight. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Okay guys, so we have our arrival information. We're going to be arriving ILS-07 right via the Jeska 6 star with the John transition or Joe transition. This is basically it. That's where we are at the minute. We're going to come down here. We're going to follow the runway out from the ILS, come round and back on ourselves to intercept it for 07 right. Nice, straightforward 111.30 at 069. It's a nice, straightforward approach. I have already put that into the FMC here, so ILS 07 right, the Jeska 6 star, and somewhere in there will be the Joe transition. So flaps 30 at 141, which will of course be 146 when we add the 5 knot for the wind compensation. There we go. We are probably going to have to do some rapid descent. We're going to use auto brake 2. And I just need to get the minimums, which I believe is 332 feet. There we go. Just going to do that on the other side as well. But yeah, we probably will have to do some rapid descent, because it's a very, very tight set of circumstances where we have to descend to our missed approach altitude. So 074 is the actual course, so we're going to put that in. The FMC always tends to be a little bit different to the Avlasoft's EFB for some reason. But nevertheless, it's perfectly fine. We could follow what the FMC says for that. 150 miles away, we're going to request our descent.
Descent Delta 1901.
Delta 1901, descent to flight level 330.
330, it's only 1,000 feet difference, but there we go.
Delta 1901.
And we're going to start that descent now. 2,300 hours. And according to the progress page, we should be there about 23:34 Zulu. So we're on par. And by the looks of it, we will be a little bit early because we should be arriving at 2:49 PM local time. So a nice early departure and a nice early arrival. So descent's looking good. On our way to 330. And I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on in the flight. Okay guys, so as you can see, that is the localizer for the opposite runway. That's on the display there next to the PFD. We've got some mountainous areas here. Very, very low visibility. And we're expecting snow. We've got the speed brakes out because we've got a bit of a tailwind. This is that rapid descent that I told you about. Frames for some reason are a little bit off. I think it's because of everything loading in, but we should be perfectly fine once everything's loaded in as it should. It's not a terrible frame rate, let's put it that way. So we're just at 7,000 feet until ATC tells us to begin our final descent. So we can arm the speed brake. Probably still going to need it, to be honest. But you can see I've just got the terrain on view, just in case. Looking good at the moment, everything's green, so it's fine. And this is sort of the boring part, is having to backtrack. It's 23:24, and it says 23:36 that we should be arriving, so we're still a little bit early. Definitely earlier than what it said on FlightAware, because the arrival should be at 2:49 PM. Right, okay, so here we are. Again, this is what we're going to do. We're going to come through here, cross over the localizer, turn around and go back on ourselves in basically a loop. And we should then intercept the localizer for runway 07 right. .101 or 102 at 12 is the wind, so we've got a definite tailwind, which might be problematic when it comes to landing, having to slow down. It's going to turn into a headwind, which is perfectly fine, but at the moment it's not really helping us. It's more of a hindrance than anything else. With a 12 knot tailwind.
Delta 1901, clear to ILS, approach runway 07 right, transition TED. ILS approach, runway 07 right, transition TED, Delta 1901.
So I've been cleared for the approach. I'm going to reduce the speed down a little bit. I'm going to try and get it to our flaps 10 speed. We're at flaps 5 at the minute. Trying to get nice and configured early. We're going to have to use that speed brake again. 11 knot tailwinds, trying to make us go quicker than we need to go. I'm hoping it won't be a difficult approach, but by the looks of it, it may be quite difficult to slow down in time. So ATC is saying speed 250. I don't know whether to actually set it to 250 or not, because we're going to struggle to slow down. And I don't think Pro ATCX is taking that into account. But we'll speed up for now, at least, for a few seconds. Don't want to go directly to 250, because we might not be able to bring it back down. And we need to get those flaps out. Match up the heading as well. I need to start remembering to do that. That is where we are currently at. Strange approach, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. Absolutely no visibility whatsoever. And if we were trying to land on the opposite runway, we would sort of be in the right place at the minute, but we're not. I am definitely going to bring back down that speed, because when we go around that little loop, that is the decel space that I'm going to use to get us at the right speed. You can see that wind has now changed direction a little bit. It's going to be a sort of a crosswind. We haven't, as of yet, needed to use the speed brakes again. Look at that view. Lovely clouds. All I can see is clouds and a little bit of water below us, and that's literally it. So as soon as we start this left-hand turn, in a moment, I'm going to start reducing the speed. In fact, I might even do that a little bit early as well. Because under no circumstances do I want to be struggling to control the speed on final approach. 3,000. 210 on the speed, here we go. Very, very difficult to match this up. Got to use vertical speed with the speed brake out. This is where that tailwind, or sort of tailwind as it is now, is really, really going to affect us. We can't go over 250 knots because we are below 10,000, so that's another restriction that we've got to take into account. I'm going to go all the way back to 200 knots. We've got snow as well. So 200 knots is the flap 15 speed. Ideally, we want to be able to deploy flap 15 and gear down without going over speed. So, although it looks as if we've got plenty of time, we actually haven't. quite a rapid descent. It is increasing the speed, but there's absolutely zero I can do as long as we don't go over that 250 mark. Look at that. Lovely snow effects. The speed is just not budging at all, which is a bit of a worry. We need to be at 210 knots to even think about flaps 10. Never mind flaps 15 and gear down. We might be okay though. Just going to reduce that vertical speed just a little bit to allow that speed, the airspeed, to start dropping off. Reduce it right back now, 900 feet. Or feet per minute, should I say. Coming up on 3,000, I'm going to reduce this back down to 500 feet per minute. And that speed should start coming back, especially with those spoilers out. 2,000. Going to have to increase that vertical speed again. VOR lock. We're going to go flaps 10 now. Cutting it very, very fine. Look at that. Localizer's being captured. We can bring the speed back to 190. That's our flaps 25 speed. We are having quite a difficult time slowing down, but I think it's starting to come under control now. Gear down, flaps 15. Now that in itself is going to bring about a lot of drag. We should be okay now. Arm the speed brakes. Going to bring her back to 165, possibly even less. Just leave it at 170 actually. Flaps 25. And we can go ahead as well and put it to flaps 30. There we go. So we're almost fully configured.
On final, runway 07 right.
Delta 1901. Slow.
Final approach speed.
Altimeter 30.07.
I think it's 146. It might be 145 now actually. We're going to match up the heading as well. 070 at the moment. But we're going to leave it at 069 according to what the course tells us. Just going to wait until that glide slope comes in and then we can activate the approach. 2334. Yeah, so it's actually flaps 30 at 145 now. Only a 1 knot difference, but there we go. So here comes the glide slope. Slowly beginning to come in. Look at the snow. It's a good job we've got the anti-ice on as well. But there we are, fully configured. After a difficult descent and a strange approach. And here comes the diamond. Glide slope diamond, that is. Second autopilot's in command. and we can arm the approach. Here we go. So it's actually still quite a fast descent even here. The aircraft had to sort of dive to be able to keep up with the glide slope there. Can't see a thing in terms of runways. The snow's just randomly stopped. Speed brakes armed, auto brake 2, gears down, 3 greens, autopilot's enabled. Lovely wing view, flaps are down. Engines are continuous and all that good stuff. Hopefully we don't have to do a go-around, because it would be pretty interesting trying to do this again. I don't think I'll be that lucky. The runway is beginning to come into sight. Not going to disconnect until we are considerably lower than what we are. I don't know what the GPWS settings on this aircraft are on this particular variant. Whether it's going to shout out 500, 400, 300. Well, there's 1,000. See, I prefer to have it saying everything, so all the 50, 40, 30. I like to have all those different increments. But not every livery has that with the PMDG. You have to sort of enable it in the FMC. Nevertheless, we're looking okay. A little bit high, to be honest, compared to what the PFD's telling us. So I'm going to take manual control. Going to have to dive a little bit. Pappies are showing us that we are too high.
Approaching minimum. 300. Minimum.
Continue.
Glide slope.
And we're getting a glide slope warning, which is a little bit unrealistic, considering the positioning of the Pappies there.
20.
And flare. Nice firm but not too firm landing. Reversers are green. Decel. 80 knots, manual braking.
901. Gate is left, contact ground control on 120, 1.9.
Auto brake's been disengaged. We'll take this exit to the left and we'll take a look at some of those replays, because it did appear to be quite a hard landing, but I don't think it was overall. So let's just take this exit to the left. 2338 Zulu. Not bad, not bad. We should have been landing at around 2349, so nice early departure with a nice early arrival. So I'm going to stop at this threshold here. We've got another runway ahead of us, so I'm not going to turn off the strobes or anything. We've actually got to cross the runway ahead of us and another runway before we can get over there. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of those replays. So not as hard as I thought it was going to be. We can turn off the probe heats now. Flaps are on the way up. Engines to the off position. Taxi lights are on. Wing lights and logo can come off. Not sure what's happening with the ground textures there, but the rest of the airport looks fine.
It's cleared off the runway. Request taxi for parking.
Delta 1901. Taxi via Kilo to gate Bravo 6.
Bravo 6, there we go, that's our gate.
Bravo 6 Delta.
We can start the APU. And I will probably just clean up the MCP a little bit, or as much as I possibly can, before we go ahead and taxi to the gate. The flaps are on the way up, in fact they are up. Just as I said that. So the spoilers are down and everything. Just have a look at my checklist here. So, VORs, traffic data, flight directors, same on both sides. We can switch over the frequencies there. Transponder can stay where it is because we're crossing a runway. Parking brake released. And we can make our way over to Bravo 6. Still haven't figured out how to solve the random cockpit-only shadow which appears on the ground in front of us. Do a quick check. There's no traffic coming from the left. And there's no traffic on the right. Perfect. So this is going to be a pretty boring experience, watching me taxi to the gate. So I will catch up with you guys in just a few moments when we actually get there. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so I think I've done the wrong thing. The snow is randomly coming in and out. I don't know what's happening. It's randomly appearing and then disappearing. I think the gate is to our right somewhere. My eyes are terrible. I can't see a thing. EFB is not much help either because it's not really giving us an accurate description of where we are. But there it is. Bravo 6. So we have to do a sharp turn to the right. See if we can swing it round. There's a little bit of stuttering, but the FPS is absolutely fantastic. Oops. Sorry, baggage cart thing. Not your day today, is it? And here we are, Bravo 6. I couldn't really see the GSX crew or anything like that because, number one, I'm blind near enough, and number two, it's quite dark. The numbers on there are quite dark, so like counting down, you can't really see them very well. Here's me blaming everything else apart from the fact that I just failed to see the gate. But nevertheless, here we go. See if I can mess this up. And I'm going to stop right there. There we go. Parking brake set. Turn off the wipers, transfer the power. We can cut the engines. Seatbelts off. APU bleed. Should probably have switched that on earlier. Anti-collision lights, switch that off. Again, you shouldn't do that until the aircraft's engines are spooled down. But there we go. Ground connections connected. And ground power is selected. Fuel pumps off, anti-ice off. Window heats. Packs. What else? Jetway. And I hope to God we've got some stairs serving the back of the aircraft because I'm about to open the doors. Right, let's go over to FS Actions, Doors, open both of these and open the cargo. And there we go. We do have stairs. Perfect. By Alaskan by the looks of it. Not sure why that is.
Baggage handling is complete,
Right.
and and the aircraft is...
ISO valve open. IRS to off. Switch off the APU. I'm sure the APU bleed should also be off. But I'm not too fussed. Welcome everybody to Anchorage. This is some new scenery that I've purchased. Hope you enjoyed the flight. We're at Gate Bravo 6, which is exactly where this flight ended up at, according to FlightAware. Nice, complicated approach and landing there, but we made it. We made it in one piece. And we didn't have to do a go-around. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on my Patreon page. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.